Thanks to everybody for showing up and for coming and for being part of this session tonight. We're really very grateful that Cindy Corell could be with us. Cindy is not a stranger to many of us in the Presbytery of the James. She became a mission co-worker of the Presbyterian Church in 2013, a position that our presbytery had played a major role in initiating, and we've kept in close touch with Cindy. And Cindy is, like all missionaries, she is assigned to an organization in the host country. And for Cindy, this is Fandama. And we are also very, very blessed to have the coordinator of Fandama, Fabienne, with us as well, hoping that her connection will remain steady and strong. So we have Cindy, who is here in the States at the moment, and Fabienne, who is on the ground in Haiti. So we are very blessed to have both of them in this conversation tonight. And as Kelly said, we are offering this opportunity on behalf of the Presbytery of the James through the Haiti Ministry and through World Mission Ministry. Both are part of the mission and service team. And again, a welcome to everyone, and I would like to invite us to begin with a word of prayer. So let us pray. Great God of us all, thank you for gathering us here. We who are so scattered in many places, and yet we come tonight. We come because of you, because of your love for the people of Haiti. And we give you special thanks for Cindy and for Fabienne. And we thank you for this time together. Help us to learn together and to support each other. And in these difficult times, hear our prayers for Haiti and its people, and for all people who seek a world that reflects your vision, which we come to know in Jesus, whom we seek to follow, and in whose name we pray. Amen. And at this point, I think I will just simply turn it over to Cindy and let her take it from here. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you so much, Mary Jane. And thank you as well, Kelly. Thanks for getting us started. Thanks to all who brought some time, put some time on your schedule to talk about Haiti and to share more about Haiti, to learn more together, as Mary Jane said, and to pray for the people of Haiti so much. And I just want to offer a word of great gratitude to the Presbytery of the James. The Presbytery of the James has nurtured me, supported me, prayed for me, visited me in Haiti. We as mission co-workers depend on Presbyterians to support us financially, but our partnership with Fandama and the Presbytery of the James goes so far beyond that. And tonight is a great example of that. And I'm sorry that I've got a frog in my throat. I apologize for that. I'm in Charleston, South Carolina tonight, so I might have picked up a little frog down here. I'm also very, very excited that we have Fabienne Jean with us tonight. Fabienne Jean is my dear friend, my sister. She is the coordinator of Fandama. I want to just give a quick overview real quickly, and to give Fabienne a few minutes to prepare for this. I would like to, in a few minutes, introduce her and let her offer a quick update of what's going on in Haiti today. You've been reading about Haiti a lot in the past 3 years, the past 3 months, the past 3 hours. Every time we turn around, Haiti is in the news again. And when Haiti makes international news, it's never for something good. But today, while the situation with the 17 missionaries who were kidnapped, who remain kidnapped, as far as I know, 16 Americans, 1 Canadian, that's big news in Haiti. in the world, but in Haiti, today is the Jean-Jacques Dessalines Day. Jean-Jacques Dessalines was one of the founders of Haiti. He's known as one of the forefathers of Haiti. Jean-Jacques Dessalines had been a slave, and he was a leader in the military when the military began to, when the Haitian slaves and runaway slaves rose up against the French, who were aided by the Spanish army and the British army. And Jean-Jacques Dessalines, when he took power in the independence as the first free Black independent nation that was Haiti, Jean-Jacques Dessalines looked out for the common family. He looked out for the people. He wanted people to have their autonomy. He wanted this country to thrive, but he wanted each person to have autonomy and sovereignty. And on October 17th, and I'm afraid I don't know the year, I'm slipping as my Haiti history person, but on October 17th, I think in like 1807, he was assassinated, and he was assassinated. His voice was cut down by the powers that be, and the rest of the story of Haiti is filled with stories of power, gaining more power, and pushing down and oppressing the rest of the Haitians, and that story sadly continues today. So we have some big news that is going on. There's going to be a huge transportation strike tomorrow. There are other protests that are going on. You may have heard this phrase, right now, Haiti has another nickname. Haiti is has the world's highest number of kidnappings of any place in the world. It has the highest number of kidnappings as a country. So the situation in Haiti is fraught. Again, I remain in the States. I was brought out in 2019 and then again in 2020 because of COVID, and then also because of the great insecurity. And I'm safe, and I'm well protected, and I have everything that I need. But we cannot forget the people in Haiti who have so little power and so little to defend themselves, and the fear that they are undergoing right now. I'm going to give an update. I believe that some of you folks might be new to the history story. So Jean-Jacques Dessalines gives me a good entree into the history of Haiti and the culture of Haiti, which is where I like to start. Talk about that, talk about our work in Fondama, and then talk about ways that you can be a part and accompany the people of Haiti as we do. Fabienne, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, Fabienne. Welcome, Fabienne. I just want to offer you just a bit of time here. If you would just like to give an update of where it is where you are, what's going on where you are, and what people might need to know in the States about what's going on in Haiti.
Thank you, Cindy, and greeting to you all from Haiti. I am very glad for being part of this meeting, and I would like, first of all, to thank you guys from Presbytery of James, because you were not only a partner for us in Haiti, for Pandama, you were like the brothers and sisters on which we can rely whenever we have a problem, to all quality of support and for prayers. We keep you in our mind and hearts, because I remember after the Hurricane Matthew, 1 year after, we received a group of POJ, and I said that whenever we have a problem, you guys from POG are the first one we can count on, even to visit, to pray, to get us on mind, or to support us with money or anything else. Thank you so much. We are faced a situation in Haiti right now that I don't really have word to describe it, because I've already seen myself as a brave young woman who can face anything. And I always think that we Haitian people, we have the courage to fight fatality, to fight anything that happen in our ways. But today I feel weak. I feel powerless. I used to talk to people to say that don't forget um, the slave, don't forget all the people that fight every single day. We can do better. We have to do better. But today, we have all kind of crisis in the country. Um, since July 2018, it seemed that life gone from the country because we had a lot of so-called lock country, a lot of protests to denounce the bad situation of the people, a lot of protests to say that um, the life condition in the country is become is decreased day after day, but that things the um the the most that people protest in Haiti, the worst things become. And right now, um, people cannot go out of the house because they are afraid of kidnapping. They are afraid of violence. In each neighborhood, you are afraid because there is a lot of gangs and um, after that, eh, we cannot forget about the high ways of the food insecurity. We cannot forget about the high ways of the coronavirus, even and the bad sanitary condition of the country. All the people that they call middle class, that is the people who got like a job for now, even if with the salary, they cannot afford anything because the price of of all the first necessary that somebody needs to live is ways in a way that you can even eat. And I can see myself as someone that you can consider as a privilege because I have a job. I hope to have a money every end of the month, but I cannot face the living condition of the country. You can imagine the situation of someone who have less than $2 to live in a day, and these people cannot go out the way that they used to fight for the daily meal because they are afraid of the kidnapping. They are afraid of the gang that can do anything to them. And at the time of the assassination of President Moise, I think that hope gone from the country because myself, I ask me that question every single day. If they can come and kill and execute the president of the nation, everything can happen to me today or tomorrow. I don't know. And I explain that in my perspective. It's like we all still exist in Haiti, but we do not have life. And that is the situation. And the last thing I'm gonna explain quickly is like the last earthquake. And as I see things, it's like there is some curse. It's my perspective because after the earthquake, a lot of people come visit and give some food. But now that the people victim of the earthquake really need help, there is no state, there is no friend, and the real victims are still struggling to um, to revive or to survive, if I can say it that way. And I am 35, and that is the first time I do not really see hope in my country. I still think that even if things is worse, we have the courage, we have the faith, we have the story to inspire us. But now I am in a point. I am in a point where I don't know. I am asking questions that I don't know where I can find answer, and that is that is the case. And I think about my brothers and sisters in Haiti, and I think that for now, I feel so hopeless that I do not really have a word or a mission or anything that I can do to help. I explain it in the way that I say it. That is what I see or what I live every day in Haiti right now. And we see a lot of initiative. I see a lot of initiative. I have the privilege to be with the people suffering, and I think that I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Um, yes, that is the situation I live, and I try to explain it the way that the best that I can.
Thank you, Fabienne. Those are hard words to hear. And those are the words that I hear from just about all of my friends that I speak to in Haiti, no matter where they are in the country. Haiti has always struggled, but a couple of dates that and events that Fabienne mentioned in there that are important to understand. Haiti, as I mentioned, is the first free Black republic. It was born of the efforts and the sacrifice of slaves and runaway slaves in Haiti who had been enslaved, who had been punished severely in an extremely brutal institution of slavery that was in Haiti at the time, which built great wealth for France. But when the slaves and the runaway slaves gathered together and the Haitian Revolution was born from 1791 until 1803, when the last battle was won, the hope, the dream was that that wealth would transfer to the people, the spoils of war. But that didn't happen. What happened instead was that because it was a Black country, many of the powerful countries that France had traded with to create the wealth for France, buying the sugar, buying the cocoa, buying the coffee, they would not trade with Haiti because Haiti was a country of former slaves and no one wanted the slavery institution to be tarnished by that. And that is simply a reality of it. 20 years after the victory, when Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the other fathers of Haiti, were beginning to create this institution of government, and they were creating this republic and building up this public and trying to build up their wealth and negotiating for trading partners, France came back and surrounded the island with warships and said, unless this former slaves, these citizens of Haiti, returned the wealth that they had stolen from the French, which was the property and which was the slaves themselves, then France would reinvade. They negotiated and said that they would not reinvade Haiti for reparations. So the former slaves paid reparations to France in the amount of what would be $23 billion US today, 91 million francs. And Haiti, wanting to do the right thing, paid it off. Paying that ransom off meant they took a lot of loans out from other countries, including the United States, which didn't recognize Haiti until the 1860s. And when they finally paid it off in 1947, it was only 10 years later that the dictatorship of Papa Doc, Francois Duvalier, started, followed by his son, Baby Doc, Jean-Claude Duvalier. That dictatorship ended, in 1986, incidentally, which was the year that Fabienne was born, and a fledgling democracy tried. And there was some success in that democracy, but it didn't last long. Since then, any kind of democracy that has come in Haiti, any kind of elections, they have been heavily influenced by outside forces, by other governments. What we have today, which was beginning in 2018, July 6, 2018, Mark Hare, who was here on the call, he and I worked together in the countryside of Haiti. And what had happened was that young people, now remember that in Haiti, many of the schools, many Presbyterian schools, Episcopal schools, they were supported by Presbyterians, Episcopal, Catholics, other outsiders. Many people were able to go to school, graduate high school, work very hard, graduate high school. They were able to get into university. They were able to work very hard and graduate university, but there were no jobs available. Up until about 2013, 2014, right after the 2010 earthquake, young Haitian men and women were able to go, and they were able to go to the United States. They were able to go to Europe. They were able to go to Chile, to Brazil, to other countries. But that is all beginning to change. So by 2018, you have a country of people who are educated, angry, fed up with the corruption of their government. This was President Moise. He had just started his presidency. They were fed up with it. And the Petrocaribe Scandal, which was the word that everyone was hearing, the Petrocaribe Scandal was $3.8 billion given to Haiti by the country of Venezuela in exchange for building up the country, building up the infrastructure, building up the economy of Haiti. And it was all tied to the loans of fuel, gas, and oil. By the time the money was coming due and they needed to stop subsidizing the fuel, that money was gone. And these Petrocaribe, the people who were raising up this ruckus, the people who were in the streets, the people who were doing these protests and these demonstrations had had enough. And they locked down the city of Port-au-Prince. They began locking down other parts of the country to make the point that the people of Haiti were the people who mattered. Since that time, from July of 2018, that pressure continued to build. The corruption became more known. The pressure of the Moise administration. By 2020, Moise had disbanded the parliament, so he was ruling by decree. The Supreme Court was being disbanded. There were other assassinations. Major people in the legal world were being assassinated. Other people in the government, and some of the protesters, some of the advocacy folks were being assassinated. This continued until July of 2021 with the assassination of President Moise. Now, no one knows what exactly happened. That is still under investigation. But what Fabienne says is exactly right. The people have had no peace. They've not been able to routinely go to school, travel to the grocery store, travel to gather up their goods and sell them in the street, or travel in the streets to buy what they needed for their homes. Right now, the World Food Program says 1 in 3 people in Haiti is severely food insecure. They don't know where tomorrow's meal is coming from. They might be eating once every 2 or 3 days. COVID struck. COVID made the situation even worse. The UN peacekeepers left, and finally the last of those left in 2017 and then into 2018. The police force that has not been paid regularly since I don't know when cannot keep up with it. And the power goes to gangs, which routinely, and this, again, this is factual, this is not supposition, the gangs are armed and supported by the government that is in power to make sure that they're controlling the people. So we have a dire situation. 5 weeks after the assassination of President Moise, the earthquake struck the lower part of the country, the southern peninsula. More than 1,000 killed, hundreds still missing, even more have been damaged. The building The buildings have been destroyed. Schools have been destroyed. Schools are supposed to be starting again. They can't start again. And though there was a rush of people who were coming in, now you've got the situation that people can't visit because of the perilous situation and because of the insecurity. So people are suffering, and that is the situation. Now I'm going to tell you some hope. And it's hard to find hope. It is so hard to find hope in all of this. I'm not in Haiti, but my heart breaks every day. And I look at my phone and I wait for bad news to come. And thank you, God, I've not had bad news. Thank you, Lord. My friends, the people that I know and love so much, Fabienne and her family, though they've been ill, though they've had problems, they are still managing to survive. The situation that has gone on with the government, we had an envoy named Daniel Foote came in. He was an envoy working with the US Embassy in Haiti. He was fed up with the way things were going and the fact that the US government in particular and other international governments were not listening to the people of Haiti. They were not listening to the Fabiennes of the world. And there are so many good people in civil society. The good news, there is a commission that was drawn up in early 2021, long before the assassination of the president. This was called the Commission Searching for a Haitian-Led Solution. And that commission has come up with a blueprint looking forward to a transitional government, looking for other ways to bring committees in so that Haitians are having their voice. And at that point, looking at bringing the security down. The people of Haiti have told me, and I've listened to so many of them, when they say Haitian-led solution, does that mean that they don't want help from the outside? No. What it means is they want the help to come in and sit at the table with Haitian people and do the work that can be done the way that Haitians know that it needs to be done. I don't know how long many of you have followed Haiti, but if you followed Haiti for any length of time, you know that it has been a tradition of non-governmental organizations, of churches, of individuals coming into places like Haiti with all of the bright ideas that are thought up outside of Haiti. And they come in and they try to make sure that they can get them done, and they don't work. Haitians aren't at the table. I got a question last night from a very good-hearted man who said, what about all that money? We send all that money to Haiti. After the earthquake, there was all that money. Where did it go? Well, I'll tell you where it went. The money that went into anything went back to US contracts, so that the US government and other international forces are coming in with lots of money and saying, we've got a couple of $1 billion. This is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. And this is who we're going to hire to do it. The money doesn't sink down into the economy, so the economy doesn't grow. And when you have hunger, when you have a faltering economy, when you have a situation where people are desperate, the gang situation is a pretty good industry that will grow quickly. It grows in the dark and it grows violently. Young people are in this industry of kidnapping, of gangs, and it is one of the many crises in the country that needs to be resolved. Fabienne and I work with an organization, a network of organizations called Fundama. And Fabienne can explain a little bit more about this too, I hope. Fondation Haiti Met Ensemble, the Hands Together Foundation of Haiti. I work for Presbyterian Hunger Program. I came into Haiti in May of 2013 to accompany the people of Haiti. I'm a recovering journalist. I was a journalist for almost 30 years in Virginia. My skill set is not as a doctor, not as a teacher, not working in a seminary. My skill set, if I have one, is to walk with the people of Haiti, to learn about the culture, to learn the language, to learn the stories, and share those stories back home. And the organizations themselves, more than 250, all across the country of Haiti, are working in their communities, doing what you would do in lieu of a functioning government. They are extension agents working with agriculture, best practices, livestock. They bring in medical clinics. They make sure that there's a school there, even if they have to create their own school. They work in environmental mitigation. They work in erosion problems. They educate people about what climate change is. Of course, every Haitian farmer knows what the climate is changing. They don't know why. And the organizations help with plans to change your growing season, to watch the weather so you can figure out how to produce more. Fundama is a phenomenal organization. Its main purpose, it was born to work in advocacy. Fundama comes from the Joining Hands initiative of Presbyterian Hunger Program that says, all these years we've been looking in places like Haiti that are so poor, and we have been trying to fix the problems. The Joining Hands concept says, why is Haiti so poor? What are those root causes? How can we listen to the people of Haiti who know what their issues are and listen long enough so we can start attacking problems at the root by walking with the people of Haiti? I have learned so much these past years, just in talking to farmers who may not have been to school at all. And they are brilliant in what they do and what they learn. And it took me years, and in some places I still don't have this, just to gain the trust of people who will look at me and understand that I want to be there, I want to be with them, and I want to hear their expertise, because indeed they are experts. Fabienne, I'm going to put you on the spot again to talk a little bit about Fundama, and then we can share the story about the Fredericksburg Presbyterian Church and its partnership in Haiti.
Thanks again, Cindy. Fundama is a network of 11 organizations. This initiative comes from the Presbyterian Hunger Program with the Joining Hands initiative. The goal was to look at the way that they see poverty, and in June 2029, 2009, is it?
2009.
Yeah, 2009. We start with the Joining Hands initiative in Haiti, called from its Creole acronym Fundama. As I said, that is a network of 11 organizations all across the country. We work primarily on advocacy, but the mission of Fundama is to participate in the rebuilding of the society, and they want to do that by advocacy, because they want, first of all, to empower the Haitian people so that they can be part of the change that they dream of, and they can be designer of their own destiny. And we, because of all that happened in the country, we cannot really focus on our advocacy mission. We have some project so that we can support the people of Haiti, but we mainly focus our attention on the root cause of Haitian poverty. And as we see, the problem is like hunger, poverty, and when we sit with the people of Haiti and the peasant, who is the backbone of the society, we see that the first thing is like there is we see the food problem, because at the 1980s, Haiti was a food sovereign country. And a lot of Haitian people, they depends on agriculture to to earn the life, and because of let's say the globalization, they lose the only job that they have all their life. And in our look, we see that the main problem is land grabbing, because a lot of foreign country or multinational businesses come to Haiti, and with the support of the government, they steal the land from the poorest, and they construct whatever they want to construct. And those people, when they lose their land, they have to go in some place, and very often in the big cities where they don't have skill, they don't have house, they don't have family, they go and they go to build what we call slum. Is it the right word, Cindy?
That's the right word, slum.
Yes, and because of the political from FME, how do we say FME? For
The financial boards.
it's a U.S. policy that come with the politics that they have to lower the tariff of the product that come from other countries, so that
the International Monetary Fund, the rest of the world pressured Haiti to drop the International Monetary Fund to drop the tariffs of food coming into the country.
Yes, and because of that, a lot of food importation come to the country, and the people of Haiti who used to live through agriculture cannot face that. And the thing that they do is like to leave the country or to leave their countryside and to go somewhere else to find a way to live. And at Fandama, we fight against uncontrolled food importations too. Mm-hmm. And we also
climate change, the effects of climate change.
We also work with the peasants on what is climate change, the effect of climate change, and how they can deal with it. We have projects to work with the government and the municipalities so that they can put the climate change issue in the way that they want to respond about the agriculture problem. And we support the Haitian people, and particularly the peasant in Haiti, the way that we can, and we want them to grow. We want them to be able to build their own healthy food so that they can take care of themselves and their family. And the husband Dama, we make sure that we train them in the way that they can learn to be a good citizen and to know what their rights and the duties and as the coordinator of Fandama, I've learned a lot about the peasant too. And I think that what you said, Cindy, when you try to explain the way that Haitian want to be the one who propose a solution on the Haitian crisis, is what I think that is what we need now, because has people who work directly with people in Haiti. I think that Haiti is a very special country, and I think if the people in Haiti are not part of the solution for the country, it's never gonna be good. It's never gonna bring what the peace that they really want. because I know that I'm sure that Haitian people know the country. They know all the habits. They know all they need. They just need some people to accompany them, and I think they will do great.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Fabienne. We are almost at the hour of our questions and answers, and Fabienne and I are going to do our best to take care of that. I will tell you that the Presbytery of the James has been instrumental and extremely generous in helping us with a garden project. That garden project has been completed in 2 communities and is about to get started in some communities up in the Northeast, the Northwest. And again, we cannot thank the Presbytery of the James enough for not only being there and helping us work through a lot of these issues and helping with advocacy, but also actually helping us put food in the ground and teaching people to have those best practices. Kelly, I think if we don't have anything in the chat, we're just going to go with raising hands or offering comments or questions, and we will do the best we can.
Sounds great. So folks, if you want to raise your hand using your Zoom tools, that will show us, you'll pop up in the participant area. We'll be able to see that you have a question. We do have one in the chat that's just come in. Have you worked with Partners in Health?
That's a very good question. Partners in Health is the program that was started back in the 1980s with Paul Farmer, Olivia Dahl, and Jim Kim. We don't work directly with them, but we know that some of our groups some of our peasant organization or farmer organizations are in that area. So remember, Haiti is about the size of Maryland and it's overcrowded. So there's a lot of working alongside with that. And also because Fabienne and I work with the Haiti Action Working Group, we work with advocates from Partners in Health working in government and political advocacy as well.
Question about how do we support the gardening project, the one that you were just talking about?
Okay, thank you so much, Gay. The garden project, the way that it has been supported is Fabienne and I and some folks from the Presbyterian Hunger Program were working really hard to come up with a large grant to get this program started. And while we were putting everything together in 2019, the opportunity for that grant fell apart. About the same time, I received a telephone call from Mary Jane who said, as a presbytery, we pull together money to make our trip because every year, sometimes twice a year, the Presbytery of the James would send a delegation. And we have money we'd like to send to Haiti. Is there a need for it? Or could you tell us what the need is? And it was $10,000. And so I immediately got on the phone with Fabienne Jean and I said, Fabienne, tell me, we've got an opportunity. How much money would it cost to get this garden project started the way we want to do it? And she said, I don't know, Cindy, it's going to be a lot of money. It's probably going to be $10,000. And then we knew that God was indeed in the works and that $10,000 came through. The Presbytery of the James also is very, very, very generous with us through the Presbytery's hunger ministry. And then we also have a program through Presbyterian Hunger Program that you can send money, and I can share that number. I can share that the other number if people want to do that, and they can send that to another fund. So I hope that answers your question.
I just put a link in the chat to a way that individuals can make financial gifts through the Presbytery. You could donate to one of the line items that's listed on the form. Hunger Ministry might be one that's applicable, or you can specifically call out the Haiti Ministry to make your gift go there. If your church is already giving to Haiti, we really appreciate that. That's another way that you could talk with the folks in your congregation about dedicating funds directly to Haiti and to Cindy. Mary Jane, do you want to add in too?
I would just like to add that the Presbytery's Hunger Committee, the Hunger Fund that is administered, one of the largest line items goes to Haiti, specifically to Fandama, and has been used for the garden project. It's been used for cisterns. It's been used for a number of things. But Presbytery's Hunger Fund seeks to address hunger needs in Haiti.
We've had a couple of other questions come up in chat, but I also, Janice Reagan, did you have your hand raised? Did you want to ask a question? No.
I was just waving it around, I guess, sorry.
All right, thank you. Let's see, so the next question I saw was, what can we do, what messages can we send to Virginia elected officials, our legislative officials, to help Haiti? Is there anything that we can do through advocacy here?
Yes, there is. Especially if you have a relationship already, or if you have a chance to go to a town hall or jump on a Zoom with your federal senator or representative, ask them about Haiti. Talk to them about Haiti. If you would like, if anybody is interested, because I don't want to fill up your email if you're not interested, but I can share some talking points with you. Basically, what we want to do is to make sure that our federal government is listening to the people of Haiti first. There was some back and forth between this envoy Daniel Foote and our embassy. And what we were hearing, even as the situation in Haiti was growing more dire and all the crises upon crises, the federal government, the US government was saying that what you need to do is have elections. Well, what you need to do is have elections. Well, why don't you just have elections? And you can't have elections if you can't go to your market. So there's just a whole lot of that, just the idea of not really paying attention. So I am glad to send out talking points along those lines. And also from the situation with the gardens, we have been so blessed in so many ways through Fandama, through different churches, from various churches, that if churches come up with an amount of money, with a certain sum of money that they want to give, have that conversation with us, because we will find a way to make sure that people are eating because of that. And right now, I want to just say New Hanover Presbyterian Church has come through. New Hanover Presbyterian Church is one of many churches that, in addition to inviting the people to come in and to share information about Haiti, but also has come through with a large financial gift that has helped us continue on with our work in the garden program. Fredericksburg Church has been able to come forward and really is working with one of our communities in Haiti as a full-on partnership, even though they've not been able to even visit there. So if your churches, and it does not have to be a large financial gift, if you want to be a part of the situation in Haiti and these committees and these organizations, if it's $1,000, if it's $500, and you want to be in a partnership and in a relationship with a certain community, please let us know, because we know that things are going to open up. I know I'm going to go back to Haiti one day. I know that we're going to have delegations again. And what Fabienne and I love nothing more, it is having people from your pews showing up and walking alongside the people of Haiti. You heard Fabienne's hopelessness. It's real. It's true. It's terrible to hear. But you know what helps that? Listening to so many people who've never met the people of Haiti, who love and pray for them and care for them. So if they're anything, if you go back to your congregations and you're interested in any kind of further relationship or partnership, be it advocacy, be it a gift, or be it a partnership with some of our organizations, please, please, please let us know. Okay, we can go back to questions now. I'll get off my pulpit.
I haven't seen any more come in through the chat, so anybody have anything else they want to ask?
Well, if we don't, and we have a few minutes, I want to put my dear colleague, Mark Hare, on the spot. He worked in Haiti for many, many years, longer than I did. And he was my first, although sometimes a little bit tough, mentor when I first got to Haiti. So I know you're there.
I'm not tough.
You weren't the one receiving it. You were the one teaching.
I kept us all alive, right?
So where are you now, Mark?
At our house in San Jose, Costa Rica.
What is your take on listening and hearing from your friends in Haiti? What is your take on what's going on now?
Well, the thing that devastates me is, Tiga was telling me that, and also Watt, who live in two different parts of the country, were saying that they have no rains, So it's like, with everything else, it's like they can't even get a crop very much. And Watt lives in the Artibonite, in the lower, down by the river. So given some, so he has water he can irrigate with, but some of the other people, the agronomists I haven't talked to for a while in MPP, but things, they say the same things you guys have been saying. One question I have, which I don't know and I haven't asked, is are the kidnappings completely focused? Like we had our friend who was killed in Ish, outside of Port-au-Prince, way outside of Port-au-Prince. But are the kidnappings and the other things going on, is that 90% Port-au-Prince, or is it 50%, or is it everywhere? I mean, usually Port-au-Prince is one thing and the rest of the country is something else. But so that was a question I have. I know the prices are just, out of reach for basic food like rice and the rice and beans and things.
From what I can tell, from everything that I can tell, metropolitan Port-au-Prince are the strongholds of the gangs. Yeah. Although the 400 Mawazo, which is the one who was responsible for the kidnappings that happened yesterday afternoon, is also known as the Papaya Gang. They work all the way out to Gantier, all the way out to the border with the Dominican Republic. So, and the gang strongholds were in Martissant, which is in a bit of a bottleneck, leaving the southern part of Port-au-Prince, going to the entire southern half of the country. And the gang wars in that area were very, very, very strong. We have more than, Fabienne might know this better than I do. We have at least 1,500 to 2,000 people who have been displaced from their home just because they couldn't live in the areas because of the heavy gang violence. Not so much kidnappings, but that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Mark.
If I can add something quickly, let's say 80% of the kidnapping is in Port-au-Prince, yes, but the insecurity is in all the country, because now in Port-au-Prince, in the way to Guamon, there is a group of person who kidnap people who take the bus to go to Port-au-Prince, and a lot of things happen in the countryside too. If we talk only about the kidnapping, yes, it's mainly in Port-au-Prince, but the insecurity is all around the country. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Gary earlier today, and I know that Grand Guave and Tiguave down on the other side of Léogâne have been really, really hurt with a lot of that. Let me catch a question real quick here from Gay. Are there wells that can be funded and built? That's another excellent question. We do work with various programs, with various organizations, depending on their need. I'll tell you real quickly the great story about the Fredericksburg Church. They wanted to be in a partnership with the community, and they wanted a water project. And I was as guilty as anyone else. I say, listen to the Haitians, but when it comes down to it, I said, well, we can help you build a cistern. Fabienne was able to go to the community that was most in need of water. And when those community organizers told her, a cistern would be great, but in our situation, every time it rains, we'd have water. The rest of the year, we wouldn't. But they said, we have a water source about a mile out of town, but it's a difficult walk. If we could ship the water, if we could send the water from that water source to our community, it would be great. The huge success of that is that the Haitian community trusted us enough. And I know this was because Fabienne was doing the talking, the negotiating. But so often you will have a situation where the recipients will say, well, I don't want to tell you what we really need because we want something. And they were so grateful to be able to say, if you could do this, this would really fit what we want. And that is the great success of that partnership. If you wanted to work on those kind of projects, Fabienne and I could come up with some information and share that as well with communities. As Mark just said, brought up the information about the drought that is regular. There might be communities, and there's a way to have cisterns built if the communities want that, and we can get that word to you. When I moved to Haiti in 2013, the goud, which would be like our penny, it took 43 gouds to make a US dollar. I just checked tonight, it's 98.37 gouds to make a US dollar. So I have no idea what those prices would be, but I would let you get back to that. I would get back to you with that, I'm sorry.
Mark's got his hand raised.
So there's a couple of reasons I have this question, but specifically talking about the folks in Fondama and Fabienne, how safe or what are the precautions, or how do you make sure that the people who go and take money out aren't targeted in this kind of context? Like, how do you have a protocol or a way of doing things like that? Are the kidnappings, is there any pattern? I mean, can you say, okay, I can do it on Wednesday because the kidnappers take a break on Wednesdays? Or, I mean, it's just like, partly I'm concerned because people I help out with, I'm wondering, am I creating, do we create targets by sending money? Does that make sense, that question?
That question makes sense. I'm going to give a quick answer and leave that for Fabienne because she's there. When I send money to my house that I'm maintaining in Haiti, I send money, tell them in every possible Creole phrase I have to please be careful. And then I pray real hard until I know that they got it and got back home. I've had a couple of cases where just friends I've been able to send money. Either they've been pickpocketed or been held up for it. But thankfully, generally people, if they know it's a small amount of money, they're going to rob you. It'd be an armed robbery. You give the money and you walk away and you keep your life, God willing. Fabienne obviously has more experience with that kind of strategy.
I'm part of the
Did we lose Fabienne?
Yes, she's come in and out a couple of times. Maybe doesn't have a stable. Yep, here she is in the waiting room again.
That was eerie.
All right, Fabienne, are you back?
Yes, so I'm so sorry. I missed a part of the question, but it seemed that Mark would like to know if there is some money coming, how do we deal with that? Is it the question? How we go and take it?
Yeah, if you have a strategy for that because of the grave security problem.
Or whatever what you try to do in Haiti now, you are at risk, at high risk. What I do personally, I know some people if I go to the bank, for example, I know someone in the bank. I call before to ask, who's staying in the bank? Is there a lot of people? If I can come, and I do what I have to do, and after that, I give some money to the person. It's what I do, but you can go and be successful in that. But if that there is no strategy at all. It's like I have some people that I know that can help me, that used to help me. But anytime you go out, you don't really know if you will make it back. That is what I can say. Even if you go to buy some water, a thing to eat, or when you go to the bank or to somewhere to take some money, it's you don't know. Only God knows. You have to make sure that you'll be very careful, but you don't know, because sometimes the dangers come from the bank or the house of transfer. You don't know. You don't will know.
Yeah. Thank you, Fabienne. When I am in Haiti, the protocol that is set for me by the people who are in my house, my dear friends, and the people who drive for me, and on occasion when I would be there and Fabienne was there, if Fabienne was picking me up, what happens is the car will drive into the yard, the door is shut and the gate is shut and locked. I get into the car, the gate is open, and then the vehicle leaves. When I come back, the vehicle comes, I stay in the car until the gate is shut and locked. Then I go into the house and out of sight. And that's simply because I might be perceived as someone, and I am someone who does have more resources. It puts my friends at risk, because if there is a kidnapping, they might be a greater target because they think that there's somebody there that would give them greater money. And these are things you never think you ever have to think about. But I'll tell you, children are born in places like Haiti understanding this and knowing this and living like this. We've lost, Mark and I and Fabienne lost a very dear friend. His name was Sanson. And he was shot and killed by a bandit in the community of Inch. September of last year, it was just a little over a year ago. The reality is just very hard. And that in no way takes away from the beautiful country that is Haiti. And that absolutely in no way takes away from the amazing spirit and faithfulness and hospitality of the people of Haiti. And anyone here who's been to Haiti knows that.
I haven't seen any more questions, and we're a little bit past an hour, so I did post a link to the POJ Haiti ministry page if you all want to stay in contact with Cindy and follow her work. There's a link to her letters there. Cindy, if you have any, Fabienne, if you have any closing remarks you want to make, this has been great. I've learned a lot and really enjoyed hearing both of your stories, and Mark's too.
Oh, thank you so much for having me again. It was very good to be with you, and thanks also for your thoughts, support, and prayers for Haiti. Please keep us in your thought and prayer, because we really need that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for loving Haiti. And thank you for loving me. And thank you for always being present for us. We know that Haiti is in your prayers, and we know that the stories, even no matter how horrible these stories, do not take away your love for these amazing people, our siblings in Christ. Just to give you one idea of how well we all are loved in Haiti, I had knee replacement surgery in March, and my friends in Haiti still ask about my knee, and they always will. The people of Haiti teach you so much. And that day, when that day comes and we're all able to come back to Haiti, please, please, please sign up for one of the Presbytery of the James delegations, and please get together and just keep us all in your prayers. Keep Fabienne in your prayers, her family, her wonderful mom, her brothers, her sisters, the people that Mark and I both love, who've worked for us and worked with us and helped us so much, and for the advocates and for the leaders. And as my friend Gary, who lives in my house, would say, even for the bandits. And then he would say when he prays, because, well, you know, God. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you all. And if anybody has any pull at the POJ, hang on to Kelly, okay?
Thanks. Thank you, everybody, for coming and for being a part of this conversation. And let us all continue our work on behalf of Haiti and our prayers for these wonderful people.